Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Millennium Movies. In today's film study, we're going to take a look at Crawl, directed by Alexandre Aja. When a massive hurricane hits her Florida town, a young woman named Haley ignores the evacuation orders to search for her missing father, Dave, but after finding him gravely injured in their family home, the two of them become trapped by the rapidly encroaching floodwaters, and with the storm strengthening, Haley and Dave discover an even greater threat has trespassed into their home in the form of gigantic, bloodthirsty alligators. So now we have our push and pull dilemma between staying silent to avoid alerting the Gators versus the ticking clock element of the rapidly rising water levels that could lead to drowning. And as seen as recently as this year with Hurricane Ian, Mother Nature is incredibly ruthless all on its own without tossing hungry reptiles into the mix. There have been other killer reptile films throughout history, from Rogue to Primeval about Africa's infamous Gustav, and the Betty White classic Lake Placid, but where those movies failed, Crawl swims away from the pack with its unrelenting tension, some absolutely brutal kills and attack scenes, and a duo of actors in Kaya Scodelario and Barry Pepper who really elevate the solid script with their talent and ability to make these characters feel like real people with real problems that they have no choice but to face head on if they're to have any hope of survival. So with all those elements working in the film's favor, let's look at them a little bit more in depth. With a runtime at 1 hour and 27 minutes, the film flies at a fast pace with its edge-of-your-seat action and heart-pumping chase sequences in these claustrophobic environments like the crawl space where most of the film takes place, or even something as tight-spaced as a home bathroom. Everything is executed at an extremely high level, and I think the production design played a huge role in that. With a movie like this where it's crucial to the story's success that the audience truly believes that the characters are in a hurricane, there had to have been just so much hard work that was put into building these sets that could withstand being ravaged by flooding waters, but not completely fall apart either, where it feels like we're on a cheap film set. Crawl captures that authentic and frightening feeling of being caught in a hurricane, and it's what allows the rest of this movie to work so well. Starting with the Gators. Could these CGI reptiles have looked better? Sure, but it's the way that they're depicted on screen and made to feel like a constant danger that gives them that classic creature feature vibe that director Alexandre Aja already has previous experience in doing with his Piranha 3D reboot, which just so happens to be a guilty pleasure. The film has some ultra brutal kills, as all great creature features should, and they're captured in various creative ways. There's the buildup of tension like in Steven Spielberg's Jaws, where you know the shark is lurking in the shallow waters and you know an attack could occur at any second, but you just never know when until it's too late. The same thing happens here, where we see the Gators circling around and sneakily swimming up to their prey, where they stand no chance, as we see with the store looters who get completely ravaged and ripped apart by the Gators, who aren't going to give them the courtesy of a quick death either.
See, I told you! Fuck! Shit! No! No! God!
those aren't even the worst fates in the film. There's some cops from the first act who show up later to help Haley, only to step right into the figurative eye of the storm and suffer some devastating deaths that showcase the sheer force and power behind these massive creatures.
Pete, you hear that?
Even our lead characters of Dave and Haley don't go unscathed throughout the film. We see them both take on gruesome injuries. For Haley, she gets bit on the leg and dragged around like a ragdoll in the crawl space, and later when trying to sneak out of the house, she gets bit on the forearm by a gator that she ends up killing by shooting it through the mouth with a handgun that she's still holding onto, even while the gator's teeth have sunken into her. Then there's Dave, who's almost never catching a break in this movie. The man gets his arm chomped off by a gator in the third act in this what is a gnarly attack scene, and that he barely manages to escape from, and worse yet, he also nearly dies by drowning before we get to this point in what is undoubtedly the most harrowing and emotional scene in the entire film.
No. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on! Wake up! Come on! 4, 5, 6. Don't quit on me, Daddy. Come on! 1, 2, 3, 4. No! Come on, Daddy, wake up! Come on! Daddy!
And that right there, the father-daughter tandem, is what gives this movie the heart that keeps you invested, because you are given a reason to care about them. We learn that Dave and Haley's mother have just been legally divorced, and this has fractured his relationship with his youngest daughter, who has anger toward her father and some self-resentment as well for their constant time spent away from her mother during swim meets and personal training that added on to her mother's unhappiness. This is also the reason Haley and Dave hadn't been talking in the beginning of the film, but after a personal talk where they finally hear each other out, they come to terms with what happened, and for Dave, this is his second chance to keep his family together by guiding and protecting his daughter throughout this horrible ordeal. And for Haley, she sees that all those swimming lessons that she feels cost her her parents' marriage is now the very same thing that is going to save her and her dad's relationship with each other, because thanks to her talent and her dad's persistent hard training, she's ultra prepared for the challenge, and it's what gives her the edge in the fight against the Gators.
You got this! You're faster than they are! What are you? Swim!
And can I add, I enjoyed the irony of Haley being a part of the swimming and diving team for the University of Florida, which is of course, the home to the Florida Gators for any college sports fans out there. The exact type of creatures that attempt to munch on her and her father. But of course, there's nothing to eat here because we've got some smart and strong-willed characters and a cute dog who all fought hard and more than earned their victory in safety. In conclusion, Crawl is a well-crafted film that gives horror fans everything that makes the genre fun, and it's one that you should definitely add to your annual October watch list. If you enjoyed this film study, check out my film study playlist where I have more videos just like this. But until next time, this has been Millennium Movies, and I will see you all very soon.